was going to try to shoot Trump on his golf course. So that,
Oh, really? I didn't hear
yeah,
that.
that they just announced it as we were talking. They were announcing it that guilty on all counts, and I
Whoa.
could talk about what follows from that.
Okay, sure, of course. Yeah, we have so many so many big cases are going on.
Right.
Okay, yeah, let's start. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Cheyenne's Forum. Today is September 23rd. Here's my dear friend Tom. Tom, how are you? Welcome.
Thank you. I'm fine. How are you?
Very good. Thank you for coming to our podcast today. I know this is a very important week that you don't want to miss to discuss what happened in our nation. We have lots of questions today for you as well. And before we start, I'd like to introduce Tom to our audience that Tom worked in FBI for 30 years and he worked as assistant director of FBI for 5 years and now he's retired. Once again, welcome and thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So for my question, of course, is regarding Charlie. Charlie's memorial service has concluded, but his legend will live on. What was your strongest impression after watching this great memorial service on Sunday?
I think to me it was his widow, Erica's speech, especially where she says Turning Point will carry on. They're going to still go to all the rallies that were scheduled in the future, and
Yeah.
all of that will continue with her as CEO now. But when she said, like Jesus said, to forgive your enemies, she forgives him
Yeah.
uh, for killing her husband. And I think that's a pretty profound statement given the emotion of the time and how recent it has been
Hmm.
that she became a widow and that her children became fatherless. So that's a lot for her to say.
Right. It's really touching point. It's a turning point, it's a touching point, and I saw that almost everyone has tears in their eyes.
Well, the
It,
fact that she could say, that she hopes that he's forgiven and she forgives him, and but I'd like to add here something. The death penalty in the United States is not administered for the benefit of the immediate victim. They're not going to execute him if he's found guilty for her benefit. It's for the benefit of all of us, for the country. That's
right.
why we have these criminal laws. So
Hmm.
when a person commits a crime, whether it's robbery or rape or murder, when
Hmm.
they commit a crime, it's not just a crime against the immediate person.
Right.
It's a crime against all of us.
Yeah.
That's why we have criminal. That's what the criminal law basically means, that
Hmm.
these are laws to protect the whole country
Hmm.
and to seek justice on behalf of everybody in the country. It's not retribution, it's not getting even or revenge or any of that, but
Hmm.
that's the reason for the criminal laws to be administered, basically, for guilty verdicts to be carried out.
Hmm.
Even if the guilty verdict means an execution, it's
Hmm.
for the benefit of our whole society,
Sure.
not for her benefit.
Sure, sure. Well, thank you so much for pointing out because I saw some argument, discussion about how this forgiveness will affect to the penalty or if there is a death penalty. So thank you for explaining that. It's for the whole society. It's not for the
Exactly.
yeah the
Exactly.
but her attitude to forgive the young man is really touching people and think
Right.
about how can you do that? You need to have a huge, not big heart, huge heart to do so, to say so in that circumstances. And yeah, I think she just show what real love is. Well, love from Jesus and God is. It's incredible.
Well, she quotes from the Bible what Jesus was supposed to have said on the cross,
Right.
referring to all of the Roman soldiers and everybody that is executing him,
Mhm.
that did his crucifixion, where
Mhm.
Jesus says, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do."
Right.
So, So Jesus says he's going to forgive them for crucifying him,
Mhm.
even though that's carrying out prophecy and scripture from, long
Right.
ago,
Mhm.
that the Savior was supposed to die to forgive the sins of the world, basically. So even then, the execution of Jesus on the cross was more than just, a crime against Jesus or, what that was for. It was for everybody, not
Mhm.
just Catholics or Christians or the Jewish people and this is what's caused thousands of years of violence against Jews, for example, that in the centuries following the execution or crucifixion of Jesus, it caused Christians, ultra Christians, to say it's the Jews' fault. Well,
Mhm.
technically, it was because, Pontius Pilate said during the trial that he was kind of washing his hands
Mhm.
and letting them decide what do you want to do with him. And the elder priests, basically, or the elder rabbis, basically said, "Go ahead and kill him." And that's what started centuries now of people of Christian people saying it's the Jews' fault. And they were even talking about that in the recent times of Hitler, the Holocaust, six
Mhm.
million Jews being killed in the concentration camps, extermination camps.
Mhm.
And in the mind of many, it was, well, they deserve it. They killed Jesus, we're killing them.
Mhm.
That's kind of a revenge attitude that people took about that.
Mhm. What a history. What a history. So we actually saw so many powerful speeches at the memorial service. Which one give you more like impressive?
I think I think her speech, obviously. I think Trump's speech, just everybody that came up,
Hmm.
that spoke, I thought was very, very eloquent. It was very moving, and it meant a lot to a lot of people, especially probably millions of people worldwide that were
Exactly.
watching it, not just the 100,000 at that stadium or the,
Hmm.
the 10,000 overflow in the nearby stadium or out on the parking lots watching it on screens or hearing it on their phones. Um, so I think that was the biggest part of it to me, of how early everybody got there to try to get in
Right.
and did get in, and I had friends that did get in as well. And and I think to them, obviously, it's an unforgettable experience.
Hmm. So we see, I just saw a number that we have right now 60,000, 68,000 chapters of Turning Point USA right now.
Right.
The day that Charlie passed away, they only have 9,000. So think about that. It is just like it's non-stoppable. It's
Yeah, I think a big part of Erica Kirk's speech was directed at the new chapters plus the old chapters.
right,
By quoting Jesus, she's basically telling them, don't go after revenge.
right.
Don't, keep doing doing it the way Charlie did it. Meet
Hmm.
with your enemies, give them the microphone first and say, okay, what do you want to say? What's your position? Which
Hmm.
he did, and then he would argue against it. And I think that, and then try to present the facts to diminish their argument and increase the argument that he was trying to propose. So I
Hmm.
think that I think a lot of the speeches, especially her speech, was directed at that. We
Hmm.
don't want, and she mentioned,
Right.
you didn't see riots, you didn't see
Yeah, right.
people, businesses being burned and all of this,
Hmm.
as if to say, that's exactly what we saw when something happens to somebody on the left,
Hmm.
like the Floyd case, and how many thousand people were injured and killed and billions of dollars in property damage
Hmm.
uh, in that case. So she's basically saying that's what the left does. We don't do that.
Yeah. So this is yeah, very touching, very touching. I actually watched the whole thing on Sunday, and it took me about 1 or 2 hours to sit there and to think of everything about the funeral, about the memorial service. And I'm so glad that I feel that our nation is back. It's
Right.
so
I think
powerful.
to me too, the other touching moment to
Hmm.
me was when at the end of the speeches, after Trump speaks, he invites her back to the
Yeah, right.
stage
Yeah,
and she buries her face in his chest.
yeah,
And
yeah,
he's holding her, they're hugging each other,
yeah.
and her face is just, against his chest. And I just thought that was so touching.
It's just like a daughter and father.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, the two touching moment,
Mhm.
and for me is one her speech, and she said, "I forgive him," and I can tell that she is so hard for her to say that, but she did it. And the
Yeah.
second is like he and Trump hug each other, and then that's the true care, that's the true love, and this is what we as American people should present, and I really appreciate that. Yeah. And then
And then Trump follows that up to his credit, to his authentic nature. He doesn't say, I forgive these people who go against me. I don't
that
forgive them.
title.
I hate them.
Yeah, exactly.
Enemies do that.
Yeah,
He hates them.
yeah. He said,
And so I find that very interesting. And I think that's part of what makes Trump so popular is he's authentic. He doesn't come up with
yeah,
something he doesn't mean. Now he
right,
knows that she means what she says,
right.
but for him, if he was to say that, he wouldn't mean it.
Yeah,
And everybody knows
exactly, exactly. That's why
it.
Trump is Trump. And
Exactly.
yeah, and he
Exactly
even
right.
said, I know that this is something that Charlie won't agree with me. And he's look at me and he's upset about that, but still I hate the enemy. Yeah, it's so true. It's a true person. It's not a person on the stage. He is a true person. So
Right.
yeah. And I noticed that FBI Director Kash Patel, before the funeral, he actually sent out an X post and said that every single leads about Charlie's case, they will follow and follow through. So he just argue, people just don't worry about that. We know that you guys have a lots of questions, even about the direction of the investigation of the case. But no worry, we know what you have question about, and every single leads, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do
It's
that.
reassuring to me to hear him say that he's
Mhm.
going to restore the FBI to what it had been,
Right,
what it became
right.
over the years, and then
Right.
how that was destroyed during Comey and Christopher Wray's administration,
Mhm.
Obama, Biden, all of that.
Mhm.
And that's what uh, experienced agents like me and my colleagues,
Mhm.
we all had to retire early.
Mhm.
A reminder to your audience, if you're a special agent of the FBI, mandatory retirement when you turn 57 years old. The
That's
month you
oh,
turn 57, the
that's
last day of that month is the last day you can be an agent. Now, for me, that was November 2008.
oh,
So at the time, I had been running the organized crime program for many years. Then I was running international operations for my last 5 years as an assistant director. And, the reputation that we had amassed for excellence and for diligence and for, the work that was done almost almost immediately became undone by James Comey and Christopher Wray. And when we see the Russiagate investigation
mhm.
and the senior members of Comey staff lying, even being convicted of lying,
Mhm.
uh, as well as Christopher Wray lying before Congress. And I said many times to my friends and on podcasts that having watched Christopher Wray recently testify, just lie. And I pointed out on here, here's how he lied, and here's how I know it. And
Mhm.
and that went on and on. And that needs to be restored. The whole Russiagate investigation, the whole all many other investigations where the FBI was pretty much held back,
Hmm.
prevented, and then on its own accord did not seek justice, did not seek the truth.
Hmm.
And for my colleagues and I that were former executives that had retired during that time frame, 2008,
Hmm.
2015, 2020,
Hmm.
that's what really got to us the most was that all the years of building up the reputation of the FBI to watch it disintegrate
Yeah,
almost overnight
yeah,
and hoping someday that gets put back together. So I
yeah.
think that, for Cash Patel to basically say we're going to cover every lead,
Hmm.
well, during Comey and Christopher Wray's time, that wasn't the policy. And in many cases, they deliberately did not follow every lead. They did not.
That's horrible. And I understand your feeling as working for FBI for your lifetime and see the whole institute, it just looks like a clap from the top. This is
Right.
very angry and sad.
Yeah.
So yeah, the good thing is Cash Patel is emphasized that he's demand and his courage to do the right things. So yeah, and also, do you think it might be potentially shift the focus of the ongoing investigation? Meaning, right now, I think they're focused on the guy, Robinson, right? The young man. And do you think it's might not be Robinson who is the key killer?
I
Do you?
think I agree that he might not be. And you can go back to Root that was just found guilty today of trying to shoot President Trump on his golf course. And all of those cases, they're all very suspicious that the guy they have is not the guy all by himself that did this or planned it or paid for it.
Right.
In Root, in his case, when they arrested him for this and
Mm-hmm.
then did a little bit of his background, where did he get the money to travel to and from Europe and do all of the things that he was doing,
Right.
when he had no money? Where'd that come from? Who was supporting him? Who was part of that? So
Right.
to me, yeah, all of these cases scream that they're part of a conspiracy, and they may be. And I
Right.
think what Patel is basically saying is that they're not going to say, "Oh, we got root, so we're done," or
Right.
we're going to get the kid that shot him in Tyler in Butler, Pennsylvania. They're not saying it that any of those are over. Now
Mm-hmm.
they've got the main subject, and in his case, he's convicted,
Mm-hmm.
but there may be many more that it turns out were. And in the current case of against Kirk, same thing. You
Yeah.
know, Tyler Robinson. How did he get egged on, and who's the group behind him? Originally it sounded like he's one kook, and
Mm-hmm.
then the left was trying to portray him as MAGA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right.
And that was really why the night show host got fired initially or suspended
Mm-hmm.
was because he basically made those same statements. MAGA did this.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody that knew a little bit about, by that time, so
Mm-hmm.
much had come out
Mm-hmm.
that it was clearly not MAGA. It was clearly a left-wing uh, desire on the part of Tyler Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
And then later, when more and more comes out from his gay roommate, lover, who's
Mm-hmm.
in the process of transitioning to be a woman from a man,
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden, another killing comes up where somewhere lurking as part of the background of this
Mm-hmm.
is transgenderism.
Mm-hmm.
We've had so many shootings in the last couple of years by transgender people. And
Mm-hmm.
and every time somebody on the right says, it's another transgender issue,
Mm-hmm.
everybody on the left, oh, you're a bigot, you're Hitler, you're a fascist, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to hide the truth that that's exactly what's
Mm-hmm.
happened over and over.
Mm-hmm.
So there's another case that'll have to be unraveled is who all was behind supporting him to want to do this.
Yeah.
And was he the only shooter? Was he, all of these rumors had come out,
Mm-hmm.
especially on the the forensics of the shooting itself. Now, the caliber of rifle that he shot Charlie Kirk with is you can use that to hunt elephants, big game,
Mm-hmm.
very, very powerful. And
Mm-hmm.
yet they were saying, now wait a minute, if he got shot in the neck, relatively soft tissue, where's the bullet? How come it didn't go into the that canvas behind
Mm-hmm.
Charlie, the
Right.
background, or into the ceiling or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
And in order to put that theory down, they had to get very gory and say, okay, he got shot in the neck and in the spine. And then once that happened, they're saying that bullet was diverted downward within his body
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
up
He said
to,
so.
and then injuring the heart. And that's why, the amount of blood that came out of his body, you know, nobody could figure, well, where is it? Where's the bullet? Where's the wound? And then it later comes out that the medical examiners and the doctors in the hospital basically saying the second that shot entered his body, he was dead
Yeah, right.
instantly,
Right.
instantly.
Mm-hmm.
Severed his spine, went down his spinal column,
Mm-hmm.
heart, you name it.
Mm-hmm.
It was not a survivable wound. And
Mm-hmm.
people have said that even if an emergency room surgeon was
Right.
standing next to him, he wouldn't have been able to save him. He was
Right.
dead immediately.
Right.
And that's kind of horrific. He wasn't using a low caliber like a pistol or something. He was using a hunting rifle.
That's horrible. And then I read a new interview from Erica and from I think New York Times or New York Post. She said that they finally find the bullet under his skin because his bone is so strong. So it's just blocked the bullet. Otherwise, the bullet maybe will hurt another people.
Oh,
But
sure.
yeah, there's still a lot of questions remain, and it's ongoing investigation. And also remember that they said the Utah police said they found an exchange text message from the killer, the suspect killer, and his boyfriend or girlfriend. I don't know how to call the guy, the roommate, and explained that how he shot Charlie and then how he escaped and how he put everything together. Do you see the exchange message,
Yeah.
text message? What do you feel? Do you think I just feel so fishy. I feel that nobody who just killed an important person will tell every single detail on the text message to his partners. It's I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but what do you think about the message? Do you think it's real to you?
To me, yes. Because, he's basically trying to tell his lover, I did this for you. I did this for all of us, not just gay or
Uh,
LGBTQ, but specifically the transgender community. And almost like he's offering that as a gift to his partner. And so to me, one of the problems that comes up, and my 29 years at the FBI and 6 as a street cop,
mhm,
um, all of these type of things that we see, the bad things that people do, and being raised properly, and
mhm,
many of us Christian or Jewish or other peaceful religions, let's say, it's
mhm.
hard to imagine how evil people can be so evil and
Right.
how they can carry out these kind of acts,
Mhm,
like like ordering dinner at a restaurant. It's no big deal. I did this, I did that, then I did that. And I think that to me, it's hard for good people to understand that and to accept, and even accept that it's true. Well,
mhm,
he couldn't have done all that by himself, or he had to have help. Maybe he did.
mhm,
But it's hard for decent people to see people
mhm,
that act indecently or criminally can do it. How can they think like that?
mhm. Right. So,
Well, they
wow.
do.
Well, yeah. That's the difference between you have the experience that I don't have the experience. I just cannot imagine how people will do that. But it's
Well, I
just
think the shame of it for me, after all these years in law enforcement, is that it's easy for me to say, "Oh yeah, people do that. Yeah, he's evil. Yeah, business as usual for another." And look at the people in the community or in the country don't want to believe that there's segments of the society that are that evil. How can
right,
they do this?
right,
How can a guy go to a church in New York and shoot little children through the windows while they're attending Catholic Mass? How can, how can one thing after another
mm-hmm,
occur like that? And good people look at that and go, oh no, it can't be possible. Can't be. And people like me that have seen just about everything say, oh yeah. And I was also the FBI's first on-scene commander in Iraq in 2003, right after the U.S. invaded.
mm-hmm,
And the things I saw there and the things that people were used to there was like they're just used to that violence. They see it all the time. It's no big deal.
um, well, you
I
needed.
went I went to the bombing where they killed one of the Muslim leaders that advocated for the U.S. for the Muslims to cooperate with and he had been in exile in Iran. Now he was back
Mm-hmm,
and he was assassinated doing Friday right after Friday service going to his car. And
mm-hmm,
the people had planted a bomb that killed about 150 people on the sidewalk. So I arrived there to lead the investigation into his killing Friday afternoon. And crowd had gathered, and I had translators come up. I went up to the crowd behind the police lines, and I said, "Here's what we're doing. We're looking for evidence to figure out who did this and how they did it and all of that." So when the bomb exploded, debris just went, hundreds of yards in every direction. So
mm-hmm,
I told people, if you live nearby here, go home and look for something in your yard that might be evidence, something that we could use.
mm-hmm,
And so, and then, bring it here and we'll create a
mm-hmm,
pile.
mm-hmm.
And one of the first things came back, a person comes and they've got a boot. Okay. So somebody's boot
Oh,
had blown off. So he hands us the boot. Well, the foot is still in it,
oh no.
you know. And to them, it's like, yeah, here, somebody's foot is still in this boot. And you think, how traumatic and all of that. And the person that handed us that boot was like, no big deal. They had so many bombings and so much violence that, oh, well, just another day in Baghdad.
Wow.
So it's just unbelievable the things you see in the course of a lifetime. But if you're in law enforcement or if you're a medical person, an emergency person, a doctor, nurse in a hospital emergency room, any of those things, the things you see on almost a daily basis, other people in the world don't see, don't
Mhm.
experience.
Right, right. Well, well, thank you so much, you guys. Actually, you see and take care of the dark part of our life so we can enjoy the bright side of our life. For that, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. And then so we talk about law enforcement, and we all know that Trump publicly expressed dissatisfied with Bondi. So you see that, and then um, it made me think that in his first term, two AG is not performed very well, and this time Bondi, obviously Trump is not happy with what she have done so far. So why this is so difficult to find a great person at AG? This is such an important position.
Yeah, I think the case with Bondi is so far she hasn't proven to be incompetent, but he's not a patient man. And he wants these things resolved quickly and
Mhm,
the wheels of justice turn slow. And to do an investigation properly, it has to be meticulous in the fact gathering and presentation later before a grand jury or before a
Mhm.
court, whatever it might be. And
Mhm.
I think that Trump is just being Trump, that
He cannot.
he's being like the rest of us. Why is this taking so long?
Right, right.
I hear many good people, on TV saying, we don't want to hear about this person's under investigation. We want to see people in handcuffs.
Yeah.
When they
Um,
talk about the tremendous conspiracy going back to John Brennan and the other members of the administration at that time,
mhm,
we want to see somebody in handcuffs. We don't want to just hear about, oh, they did this, they did that.
mhm,
Prove it and go to the grand jury and indict these people.
mhm. So just like I remember General Flynn, Mike Flynn, he had just lost his patient many times and said, "We need to see the arrests. We need to see the action." So why we're waiting? So then after the powerful post, and I think 2, 3 hours later, Trump has another post and said, "Oh, Bondi is very smart and she's very careful and she's doing a good job." And so, what do you think about the
I'm
future
sure
of
some of his advisors said what
uh,
I just said.
uh, in
Don't disparage her like that. You're going to hurt her reputation, and people aren't going to take seriously when they
mhm,
do bring charges.
right?
So, try to be a little bit patient.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
and I think that's probably why he started realizing that he
Hmm.
shouldn't continue to undermine the reputation of people that he put in these sensitive positions.
Right, right. So, do you think Bondi will still stay on the position and she will perform well, which will satisfy Trump, or there's a possibility that Trump will find another person to be a new AG?
I don't I don't think he'll find another person unless he has to. And I think that the bigger question would be how much more of this pressure will Bondi put up with? She's not just things Trump says, but the whole country, MAGA, all of these other people saying, wait a minute. Especially, it's especially sensitive when they go back to that now we have the evidence provided by Tulsi Gabbard
Mhm.
and, and the DNI and the several others showing what Hillary Clinton did, what happened back at that time, the Russia Gate, and
Mhm.
all of this pressure that should have been brought against them. Why wasn't Hillary charged? Why wasn't this person charged and that person? And
Mhm.
I think that's where the frustration comes
Mhm.
that they want to see in their mind justice will be
Mhm.
when Brennan and some of these people are in handcuffs and they're
Yeah,
being prosecuted.
yeah.
And I think from Bondi's position and from some of the senior people at DOJ who are now very good,
Mhm.
that they're looking at this. We don't want to get too hasty with all this pressure. We want it to be meticulous,
Mhm.
by the numbers, to
Mhm.
stand up to all the scrutiny it's going to get over the next 20 years in
Mhm.
court and appeals and everything else that's going to come.
Mhm. Well, some people just said Bondi is not strong and brave enough. Do you agree with that, or we still need to time need more time to see,
I think we need more time.
right?
Now, for
And
me,
mhm,
when he picked Bondi, the person that I was hoping he would pick is the person that was number two at DOJ
right.
um, back during Bill Barr's days, Whitaker, who I think he's now at United Nations or NATO or some other position. And with his experience, I would have liked to have seen him because he was in DOJ and he was familiar with the federal guidelines and federal procedures and all of that. So
Right.
when you bring somebody like Bondi and
Mhm.
elevate her up into the federal system, even though she'd been a state attorney general for many
Right. But
years,
not
a
stay level.
whole different,
Yeah.
it's basically like taking a minor league baseball pitcher and put
Right.
him up in the majors in time for the World Series and say, okay, now win the World Series for us.
Yeah. Right.
That it's a little bit over their head.
Hmm.
And initially in the beginning, she came out too quick to do press conferences, and every day she was on TV and all of that. And I think that, she should have followed the advice of many other experienced prosecutors to say,
Hmm.
don't do that yet.
Yeah, yeah.
Come up with the proof. It'll
Mhm.
speak for itself.
Yeah, like a low key at the first beginning.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And okay, we'll see. Yeah, it made me think about the first term. The first AG that Trump appoint is Sessions, right? Do
Yeah. And
you?
what happened there was, and I blame Sessions because
Mhm.
Sessions was a senator and he um he had meetings in his office in the Senate. And one
Mhm.
of the meetings was that he had a couple of, Russians, the ambassador and one or two other people, and he had US military. He had a number of people in these meetings. And
Mhm.
suddenly he decides, well, I was in those meetings, I better recuse myself. So
Oh.
now, instead of acting as Attorney General, he says, well, I can't touch any of this. I can't touch, the accusations against Trump and all this other stuff because I met with the Russian. That was ridiculous. So what? These guys have meetings with people every day,
Mhm.
half hour, hour, whatever it is. They're recorded. Everybody knows what was said.
Mhm.
Nothing improper was said. No promises were made. And yet he chickens out and recuses himself.
Oh.
And that did tremendous damage at the time.
Mhm. Exactly. So his situation and Bondi is really different.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Bondi is
Well,
just
he was a
being
politician. Bondi was an attorney general,
right,
state
right,
level, but she was still a lead prosecutor.
right. Okay, so we'll see, and we'll give her a little more time and have her perform. And also have to remember this, if you want to have a good case, you need the time to prepare. So the bigger the case is, the longer time you
Right.
need. Yeah, so just be patient. Maybe tell President Trump just be a little more patient. Give her a little more time.
And the other side of that, the other benefit of that is
Hmm.
that I like the idea of John Brennan and all of those guys, Comey, squirming,
Hmm.
wondering what's going to come.
Yeah.
When are they going to have the FBI at their door at 6 o'clock in the morning and put them in handcuffs? And so all of this, to me, I kind of like the idea of
Uh-huh.
psychological warfare against these people.
Sure.
Uh, let them lose sleep in the next months ahead.
Yeah, it's a good point. Thank you so much. I never thought about this way, but yeah, this is indeed. Yeah. Oh, talking about again law enforcement, and President Trump just signed an executive order that consider Antifa as a terrorist group, a domestic terrorist group. So what does that mean?
Well, designating a group as terrorist enables a number of powers on the part of the federal government
Mhm.
in going into their finances, going into their activities. Where does the money come from? Who's in charge? What's the organization look like? And I think that to me, this was one of my disappointments in the first Trump administration
Mm.
when we had the aftermath of George Floyd and
Mhm.
all of these cities burning and all of these people and law enforcement officers getting injured or killed. And again, my fellow colleagues in the FBI that had taken apart the U.S. mafia, that had done all of these other phenomenal cases, are
Mhm.
looking at this. Where's that money coming from? And we're looking at it from our own experience that when you had 50 people or 100 people show up on a street corner to do a protest, then all
Mhm.
of a sudden the truck rolls up and
Mhm.
they're taking professionally made signs off
Yeah. The
from
poster.
print shops. Who
Right.
paid for that? How'd
Hmm.
they get that? And
Hmm.
so that, to me, was a clear evidence that there is big money behind the protest in the so-called Summer of Love in 2020,
Hmm.
that these guys were not making these signs in their basements at home and painting them and bringing them out. Uh, and then some of the baseball bats and clubs and other
Hmm.
weaponry that were also given to the protesters, that
Hmm.
none of that was self-created by the protesters.
No.
So therefore, who's behind that? And
Hmm.
I and I think Trump was reluctant to basically turn loose the FBI into finding out. Because
Hmm.
over the years, the entire of my career, when we had, protest groups become violent,
Hmm.
then the FBI left no stone unturned to get to them. The Weather Underground, some of the other political groups of the 60s and 70s
Hmm.
that the FBI went after and discovered their leadership and their organizational chart and where their money came from and
Hmm.
was able to basically neutralize them over time.
Hmm.
And we didn't see any of that. In the first Trump administration, um, again, why holding back? Why not going after this
Yeah,
big time?
yeah, exactly. So why? Do you figure out why? Or
No,
he?
I don't know. I think he was intimidated maybe, and people
Hmm.
on the left saying that he's the president, he should have nothing to do with DOJ or the FBI, they should be on their own. Well, that's not true. Constitutionally,
Of course,
he's
yeah,
in charge of the executive branch of the United States. He's the
right,
chief law enforcement officer of the United States, in
of course.
charge of DOJ, in charge of the FBI and
Yeah.
DEA and Homeland Security and all
Hmm.
these other agencies. And I
Hmm.
think that the left intimidated him out of doing his full job. And I think he learned a lesson. And that's why now you don't see that.
Right.
Now he's not hesitating to send, uh,
The
the
national guard.
military, if necessary, into some of these cities
Right, right,
uh, and turn the FBI loose, take off the handcuffs from law enforcement and let them do their job.
right, right, right. It's long overdue.
I
I agree
agree.
with you.
Agree.
Yeah, I agree with you. And a question is, I'm sorry. So we follow the money, and who sponsor these terrorist group? And under the law, if we find some organization or maybe person to fund this terrorist action, or even a government, a foreign government fund this, what we gonna do?
Well,
What?
they can be charged with conspiracy. They can be held accountable for this and arrested and charged. And if it's
Mhm.
foreign governments behind this,
Right.
then, the power of the president is almost unlimited in
Hmm.
dealing with another country if they're behind any of this.
Hmm. Okay. So we'll see. We'll see if we follow the money, who is behind. Thank you for pointing out that we need to know for who is behind all things that destroy the American government and American as a
Right.
society. Yeah, and also the last question is about the international relationship. The United Kingdom, Canada, and Australia have taken a against a U.S. by announcing their recognition of Palestine. So how will this change the global landscape?
I don't know, to be honest, because I think that just saying that they agree with the idea of a two-state solution with
Hmm.
Israel and Pakistan, just saying they agree with that is one thing.
Hmm.
But in Trump's mind, he's looking at it, okay, it's okay for all of you people and you countries to have big mouths and this is what this should happen. Who's going to pay for that? It's going to be the United States. Who's going to put up with, trying to repair the ramifications of those kind of policies? It's going to
Hmm.
be us. And he's basically saying, his speech today was pretty evident that he's saying, we're tired of paying all these bills.
Right.
You need to do your share, whether it's NATO or the European countries or the UN. I mean,
Right.
his speech today, he blasted the UN. Do your job.
Yeah,
Why do
exactly.
you exist? You do nothing. You're not
Mhm.
effective. You don't
Mhm.
solve any of these problems. And Trump being Trump says, I've solved more wars than you have. Well, that's
Exactly.
true. That's
Yeah.
true. He has. So I think that the wisdom now, let's say, from experience of Trump, is showing. Um, the old expression, good judgment comes from experience.
Yep.
Experience comes from bad judgment.
Yeah.
And I
Exactly.
think that's what you're seeing with Trump is in the past letting the UN, do all their big mouth stuff and not solve anything, or NATO not solve anything, or
Mhm.
or these other countries in Europe not solving anything. And
Mhm.
he's basically saying, every one of you waits for us.
Mm-hmm.
Every one of you wants the United States to fund whatever relief
Mm-hmm.
or supply whatever military is necessary. And he's basically calling their bluff and saying, do your fair share.
Mm-hmm.
Put up on your side if you want this.
Well, if they still don't do that, what we can do? That's my question. Well, actually, they know that they are doing nothing, just asking for money from United States, and then Trump is the one who just say to them directly, and also say to the world that you need to do your part. But if they still don't do that, what can we do? We maybe just
I
stop
think
funding
he can
them.
continue doing what he's doing, shame them for not doing their part. And
Uh-huh.
then if he gets specific with certain countries, he can punish whoever he wants and use the tariffs if he
Hmm.
wants to, or other, withhold aid in other ways.
Right.
And I think that one of the things that has proven very successful is that the investigation that led to the State Department's program being run by the CIA
Hmm.
of money to everybody all over the world
Hmm.
and bringing an end to that. USAID.
Hmm.
USAID, it sounds like US aid, but it's actually,
Hmm.
money improperly given to other countries basically as graft and corruption.
Yep.
And it's not a State Department program. It's sponsored by the CIA
Hmm.
and, paid for largely, in
Hmm.
some cases, State Department money, but it's authorized by CIA.
Wow. So this is their channel
Yeah.
to fit this organizations, which in Trump's mind is basically no use.
I
And
agree. And I dealt with, when I was running international operations of the FBI and was overseas in countries that we were actually helping their law enforcement and working joint cases. And in some cases, I saw, when I get there where they said, well, USAID is here. And
Mhm.
I'd meet with their representative and realize they're worthless or
And
they're immoral or corrupt or something. But I knew that at that time. I didn't want to deal with them.
well, that when is that? 20 years ago? 10, 20 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, even back then.
Well, so stop the US ad is a big, big movement as Trump administration, which is the right one. And some people are not happy with that, but that's okay.
And I
Yes.
think that, I think for some of these corrupt countries and corrupt programs,
Hmm.
I think another thing, I just mentioned how some of these uh, people are fearful that they're going to get arrested and all this. I
Hmm.
think if there was anything that came up over the weekend that should strike fear in the part of these corrupt people around the world,
Hmm.
it's watching Elon Musk and Donald Trump shake
Oh, yeah.
hands.
That's a big,
And Trump, it comes out, Trump had invited Elon Musk to come sit with him. And so he comes up and they sit together,
right.
and everything that's said between them is positive. And
Hmm.
that's why you saw Trump firm handshakes and, hand on him and then patting him as he's walking away. And Elon Musk, in subsequent interviews later that day,
Hmm.
when they were asking about that, yes, I was honored to sit with my president. That's how he referred to Trump, my president, several times.
Hmm.
And when Elon met with uh, Kirk's widow, same
Hmm.
thing. They were asking him, "Oh, it was so great to see you with the president."
Right.
And then he would correct him and say, "Not the president, my president." And
Well,
that was huge. In my mind, that was a message to the rest of the world. If he gets back together with Trump and they go after these corrupt people again, look
right.
out. Look
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
The
Well,
damage that the damage he practically single-handedly took apart USAID.
right.
And they'll just continue that program.
That's very happy and excited to see.
Yeah,
My president and repeatedly emphasize that says a lot.
right,
Yeah, that's
right.
good. That's great. Well, yeah, thank you for pointing out that. That is a very, very big actually. And they said it's for Charlie. And also, if it is for Charlie, it is for our nation. So, and then yeah, you just mentioned that the money issue. I saw a news, but I have not got a chance to confirm that. In the morning, UK announced that they recognize the Palestine. In the afternoon, the Palestinian sue UK for $1 trillion for 1917 to 1946, something that they did for Palestine. So you see the situation is they recognize them, and the one who be recognized, Palestine in this case, sue them. It's money issue. It's a huge money, and I don't think UK have the money to pay that. And I think it's so funny.
That's
And
what's great about Trump. He knows that the UK has no money.
right,
They have no military. They
right,
have no credibility. So he
right.
goes over there, this past week
Right.
and watches all the parades
Oh
and the
yeah.
jets fly over and
Mhm.
all the pomp and circumstance and riding in the carriage around
Mhm.
when he's riding in that carriage around the property there. And it reminded me of like a ride at Disneyland where you just go in circles. You're not really going anywhere, but it looks good.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I think for Trump, especially now, this was his second time,
Mhm.
and it
To
was the first time
mhm.
that the British had ever given somebody that royal treatment
Oh yeah.
twice, the
Yeah.
same person.
Right.
So I think, basically trying to tell Trump, please take care of us. Please, we're
Yeah.
on your side and we're going to
I,
do
yeah, I totally agree with you. It's like
so.
begging him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good for US. So we'll see. Well, thank you so very much, Tom. We actually discussed a lot, and then I'll translate to Chinese as soon as possible. And also, I really appreciate that you point out the Bondi issue because there are a lot of discussion about this, and there are so many people are not satisfied with the performance so far from Bondi. And then thank you for explaining the inside story. And then yeah, give her a little more time. We need a good case. We need some more time to
Right.
form that. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much, Tom.
Well, thank you so much.
Sure. And I cannot wait for next Tuesday to discuss with you. All right.
Yeah, lately, there's always something, and I'm sure there'll be many more issues that will come up between now and next week.
Yeah, I think we are at a very special moment of history right now.
These are times, it's hard to convince people that these are times that we would look back on
Yeah,
years from now and say that this was a very, very historical time
yeah,
in the United States. Not just the reelection of Trump,
no,
all these other issues, but
yeah,
we are at a cultural crossroads, a cultural turning point,
right.
and the assassination of Charlie Kirk has helped bring that to
Yeah.
attention of everybody.
Oh, yeah.
That we better pay attention so we don't lose our democracy and so that we don't lose not just the democracy in the electoral sense, but our
Mhm.
culture,
Yeah,
the Judeo-Christian culture of
culture.
good and evil and right and wrong.
Exactly.
And that's a lot. That's a lot for a society to be aware of, be self-aware that
Hmm.
it needs to save itself.
Right, right. I actually read a letter from England. A person just write a letter after the memorial service of Charlie Kirk, and then he just point out that American people, God bless you. And I never seen that so many the government high officer just openly said Jesus Christ and trying to bring the spiritual back to your culture, back to your
Right.
country. And this is American, is American. So God bless you. We are all looking at you guys. So
No, it's
yeah,
true. And
yeah. And I
it's a good thing they are. It's a good thing that there are people in those societies wise enough to realize it.
right, right. And I believe that after 100 year if we still have Bones Noble, the bookstore. And remember, right now you have World War One section, World War Two section, and then probably we're gonna have a section is year 2000 no 2000 to 2040. Maybe this is a section on the bookstore 100
Right.
years later. Yeah. Again, thank you so much. And I will
Thank
see
you.
you, yeah, next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday. See you then.
Thank you.